I am a liar. I lie to those I care about, and more importantly, I lie to myself. Whenever people get close to me, I push them away, and I say that it's their fault for getting close. I tell them what they want to hear and hide the truth that's right in front of them. I lie to myself, saying that I can fix all of these problems that I made. I have to tell myself that, because saying the truth out loud is too sad. At least that's the premise behind The Liar Princess and the Blind Prince. Hello, and welcome back to The World is a Dangerous Place. The Liar Princess and the Blind Prince was released in May 2018 to the PlayStation Vita, PlayStation 4, and the Nintendo Switch to Japan, with a worldwide release in February of 2019. The game was developed by Nippon Ichi Software, more recognized for their Disgaea and Phantom Brave series. The Liar Princess is considered an action-adventure game, but I think it's more of a puzzle platformer. It also deviates from the art style of the previously mentioned games for a storybook feel. The layout of the game is also told in a fairy tale to help the narrative. We begin in a forest ruled by a witch, where as a wolf, we sing to the moon every night. A prince down below listens and eventually becomes emboldened to see us sing such wondrous melodies. In this world, however, monsters and creatures love to snack on humans, and we are no exception. Except, no one ever complimented our singing before. As the prince draws near, we lash out, swiping at the prince, ultimately blinding him. Nights pass, and feeling guilty, we decide to restore the prince's eyesight. To do that, though, we would need to consult the Witch of the Forest, and the witch does not work for free. Even more so, we can't escort the prince to the witch in our wolf form, as the prince was just attacked by us and would never trust the monster. The first wish would need to be to look human, luckily an easy task for the witch. We now have the ability to look like a princess on command, at the low price of losing our singing voice. The one characteristic that the prince liked about us would be gone. But what price is too steep for righting the wrongs we just committed? Done. No more beautiful singing voice. We even get the best of both worlds, though, as we can transform between a princess and a wolf at any time we'd like, as long as the moon doesn't shine on us. The moon will show our true form, but that's okay. We'll be inside the forest so the canopy will block the moon. We return to the castle and whisk away the prince. He's nervous to go into a dangerous forest while blind, and doesn't even know if the witch can help, but otherwise he'll need to spend his days hidden from the world. As an aside, I'm not great at platformers, and the prince and princess, while in human form, are easy prey for monsters and heights. So while the forest is quite dangerous, it's even more so when I'm at the helm. We traverse the forest of no entry, where we learn that the prince loves to read, and he also likes flowers. We also save him from some monsters, but realize that we need a balance protecting him in wolf form, as well as help him navigate the forest and calm him as a princess. The two enemies this early in the forest are raccoons and boars. The boars will charge at us and are fearless, whereas the raccoons will run away while we're in wolf form, but become much more brave when we're both humans. At the end of the day, we decide to rest and scrounge up some food in the form of raw meat, our favorite meal. The prince, for some reason, has never heard of tartare and is disgusted that we would even offer him uncooked meat. But secretly, we're scared of fire, so we aren't comfortable cooking anything. We lie, because we have to. We end up eating some fruit and sadly make our way to the mushroom nursery. The mushroom nursery houses frogs, which can easily hop over the webs that slow us down on the ground. Also, like the name suggests, there's lots of mushrooms. Bouncing on mushrooms allow us to jump higher than normal, but also prevents fall damage, which is the most important thing for us right now. We bounce around the nursery, eventually making our way to a hut. Inside the hut, a family of goats lie on the ground. We assume they're dead and good eats, but the prince will not allow it because he thinks they're human and we can't eat humans apparently. They're also not dead and are just hungry, so we go off to find something that we know goats will eat. We bring back a ton of meat from apparently a moss whale based on the naming of the level. The prince helps us cook the meat, which the goats really seem to like, and they agree to let us stay the night and not eat the prince. At night, the papa goat stays up with us and tells us what we feared and ignored. Despite this, the goat is appreciative for saving his family, and so will support our decision to try to get along with humans. We spend the rest of the night telling ourselves that everything will work out. We lie again, because we have to. The next morning, we intrepidly delve deeper into the forest, making our way to the witch's garden. The garden has ominous portals that transport us to different portions of the map. We also meet ghosts that rush towards us, but if we lock eyes, they'll turn to stone, allowing us to jump on them. The garden also has numerous riddles and puzzles that block our way until solved. Not being very smart, this was one of the hardest levels for me. In fact, it takes all day to solve the first puzzle, and we need a rest by the lake afterwards. Knowing we struggled with the puzzles, the prince teaches us a word game he likes to play. And to make it more difficult, we decided that the loser will have to grant one wish for the winner. The prince must have cheated, as there's no other way we'd lose the first game after just learning the rules, but a bet is a bet. His wish is simple. He just wants to hear us sing. We sing terribly. Oh, right. We can't sing anymore thanks to the witch. We lie again, but this time it makes the prince feel bad for forcing us to sing. We've been lying to help the prince, but this time it's made it worse. Night approaches, and riddled with guilt, we can't sleep. We keep trekking on, this time into the azure abyss. It's dark down there, and we'll need lanterns to see anything. Luckily, the prince doesn't mind holding the lanterns. The first new denizen that we meet down in the abyss are the Yetis. They're one of the nicer creatures that we meet, but will toss us up in the air behind them, which can lead to tragic results if not angled right. We also encounter bats, which fly around and harry us, but aren't generally too difficult to deal with. Lastly, we encounter moles. Although they aren't normally aggressive, they really like to eat flowers. And because flowers don't generally grow so far down, they get a little too excited. In order to save our skin, we promise to bring them back more flowers in exchange for safe passage. We make our way back to the surface and collect lots of flowers for the moles while enjoying our time in the fresh air and the beautiful views. For the first time in a long while, we have a peaceful night where we don't need to lie. We collect more flowers and enjoy ourselves under the moonlight. They say fortune can change in an instant. Our luck was never meant to last. The culmination of our lies has finally come to a head. The moonlight changes us to our true self, and the prince recognizes instantly. Panic sets in for both of us. We try to go into crisis prevention mode, telling the prince he has nothing to fear. Look back on this journey, how we've been helpful. Everything is okay. He's not in any danger. We're here to protect him. We lied to protect him. But the prince doesn't listen to our words. He shuffles backwards away from us, bringing his lantern with him, unintentionally warding us off until there's nowhere left to go but down. We catch him, but the world is cruel sometimes. The moon catches us one last time. Our hands turn true once again, and the prince decides down is safer than with us, than with the monster that blinded him. we see him plummet down the mountain. The lantern that had fallen before him had now caused the forest below to catch fire. With the prince down below in the inferno, we dive after him. This deep into the forest, we see all the creatures that we've been accustomed to, including one new addition. A second species of pig. This one can fly and will blow strong winds that blow us great distances. We eventually find the prince trapped under burning trees. Even though we're scared, we tear through the vegetation and rescue him, letting the prince know that we do care for him. This tender moment is short-lived, as the fire has reached the witch and she's livid that we burned her forest and her things. The prince wants to apologize to her, but she doesn't seem to be in a talking mood. After several attempts, we beat some sense into her and she becomes more amicable. When she comes to, we apologize to her and ask if she can cure the prince's blindness. She coyly agrees, but asks for a heftier cost. This time, she asks for our memories with the prince. His eyesight for us not knowing of his existence. The adventures we've been on. Picking flowers together. Making new friends. Learning about each other and bonding. Gone. Is it worth it? We started this journey partially because we felt guilty, but also because we were fond of the prince. He's been kind and generous and even forgave us for lying to him, so that the prince can see again, so he can read again. No price is too large. We accept the terms of the spell. The prince tries to reason with us, to let us know that things will be alright, that even if we forget everything, he won't. Losing consciousness, we can only hope that unlike us, he doesn't lie. Like our memories, the screen turns blank. I'm not generally great at puzzle games or platformers, so there were parts of The Liar Princess and The Blind Prince that were fairly difficult for me, but overall I thought it was a good game. I like the storybook style and the cute visuals. One of my favorite details is when both characters are in human form. If they're separated, they look almost anxious, but when holding hands, they would always be smiling, showing the trust and adoration they had to one another. The mechanics of the game made it stand out to me as well. We had to basically shepherd the prince everywhere and make sure that he wasn't in imminent danger. The final level really showed this off, where we had to have the prince wander for the most part while we took care of the enemies further away. This eventually changed to where the witch would target the prince with spikes, and we would need to give him instructions to both not get hit by the spikes, but also have the spikes hit the witch. There were also several instances where I thought the prince was fine, so I went ahead to complete portions of the puzzle, and something must have attacked him as we found out that he died off screen, and we had to replay the level. Throughout the game, there was also a sense of dread. The two would have small victories, but there was always something that either held them back or reminded us that this friendship couldn't exist, and that we were just lying to ourselves that it would. Even when confronting the witch the final time, we learned that it wasn't going to work out. Ultimately though, we do see a happy ending, which was alluded to in the very first line of the game, but having to wait until after the credits roll to see it come to fruition was pretty stressful, but I am glad there was a payoff. Thank you all so much for watching, and be sure to leave a comment on what other lands we can discover. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one.